Morning everybody, welcome back to Indycar on Thursday morning. This morning I'm in Maryhill and it's a brief show today, just simply because I'm lacking a little bit of data for this month. Anyway, the news today is that Jacob Rees-Mogg, the Tory arch-Brexiteer, and his chums on the far right of the Tory party have now made sure that there can be no customs arrangements after Brexit with the European Union. So there is now absolutely no hope that there will be any kind of customs agreement, customs union, or any other arrangement which would keep Britain inside the customs area of the EU. In other words, there's to be a complete severing of all links between Great Britain and the European Union in terms of trade. Now, in a way, that's probably to be expected, because we knew that it was going to be almost impossible for customs arrangements to be acceptable to the Tories anyway, because it would have meant Britain collecting tariffs, in other words European taxes, in the UK to pass to the European Union. So in actual fact the UK would still really have been working for the European Union even though we had Brexited. And so it was never really going to be acceptable to anybody on the far right of the Tory party that we could continue to do that after Brexit. So it's beginning to look more and more likely now that hard Brexit is the only possible outcome for the UK. And that leaves both Scotland and Northern Ireland in a pretty difficult situation, because in the first instance Northern Ireland will now have to have some kind of border controls. Now, whether it's a hard border, whether it's sporadic sort of border checkpoints, I don't know, but it will be necessary because the European Union will demand it now. Any hard Brexit means a full border, because the border across Northern Ireland would become an external frontier of the European Union, and therefore border controls would be necessary, and there is no way around that. The Tory party and the British government and the British civil service have not come up with any workable plan that could possibly produce any kind of soft border. In other words, there's no electronic way to completely ensure the security of the external border of both the EU and the United Kingdom and Ireland. So none of the things that the Tory party have proposed can work. The EU has already thrown them out, and now the Tory party itself has said it will not have a customs union. So that really torpedoes any idea that there can be a frictionless border in Northern Ireland. If there is some form of agreement which allows Northern Ireland to keep trading with the EU, in other words the south of Ireland, without any tariffs, without any borders, then that would create a precedent, and that would be unfair to Scotland, and therefore Scotland would not wear that. We couldn't accept that, because it would mean a different relationship for Northern Ireland to the rest of the UK. And also the DUP has said very, very clearly that they will not tolerate having any different treatment in Northern Ireland from the rest of the UK. Again, torpedoes completely any notion of a soft border. So it seems to me that there are more people lining up to torpedo the idea of a soft border than there are supporting it. And they are powerful people. The DUP basically has got the Tory party by the short and curlies, and they are the only ones who are propping up effectively a minority Tory government at the moment. And with the council elections in England and Wales starting today, I believe, that means that the Tories are now under severe pressure, and I would expect them to start suffering some quite major defeats in local authorities because of the deep unpopularity that people feel towards the Tories, that they just do not know who to support anymore. And also the Labour Party, sadly, is not producing any kind of backbone. There's no real opposition to the Tories. People are left adrift, not knowing who to vote for in their council elections. We could see turnout, I think, drop to historically low levels in England and Wales for the council elections as people's apathy levels go through the roof. Here in Scotland, things are quiet, but it's the quiet before the storm. On Saturday, as you know, Saturday morning, the sounds of bagpipes will be heard again in Glasgow streets as tens of thousands of people converge on the city centre for a huge independence rally and march taking place on Saturday morning, starting at Kelvin Grove and working its way through the streets of the city to Glasgow Green. It's expected to be more than it's expected that more than 50,000 people will show up for the event on Saturday, more than twice the attendance of the previous march through Glasgow on, I think it was June the 3rd, in the previous march. Now, I would expect actually to exceed 50,000 quite easily, because A, it's a Saturday, and B, the weather is going to be good, and it's been well flagged up across social media and across all platforms that this All Under One Banner event is going to be massive. It's going to be very difficult for the mainstream British media to avoid covering it. So we need to make sure that everybody who is on the march carries a mobile phone, and everybody posts footage of the numbers, of the flags, of people, and the speeches, everything, as much social media coverage as you can possibly manage. Everybody carry a mobile phone. People with drones, take them down to Glasgow Green. Make sure you obey the Civil Aviation Authority regulations by staying clear of the crowd, no higher than 50 metres in the air. And if you want to get a good panoramic view of the numbers, then obviously a drone is the way to do it. But make sure that you have permission to fly and you stick to the rules. We don't want anybody having their drones confiscated or getting into trouble with the police. So the weekend promises to be a major event, and after the success of the Hands Off Our Parliament event in Edinburgh, it's putting more pressure on the politicians to name the day for the next referendum. I really hope that we can get as many as 100,000 people out onto the streets of Glasgow. We really need to start emulating the way the Catalan movement has worked in Barcelona and other parts of Spain, where they can get up to 500,000 people on the streets. It would be wonderful if Scotland could do something similar. It's very difficult for the media, the mainstream media, to ignore such numbers, and particularly when they're parading down the main streets of the largest city in the country. So anyway, I wish everybody the best of luck for Saturday. I may also do a broadcast tomorrow before the big event. Unfortunately, I can't attend because I just won't be able to make it on Saturday. But please, good luck to everybody who goes, and make sure, as I say, that you cover the event on your mobile phone and post the footage to as many platforms as possible. YouTube is a good one if you have a YouTube account. If not, Facebook and Twitter and any other platform that you're on, photographs, movies, selfies, everything that you can get onto social media, and use the hashtag, if there is one. I think it's All Under One Banner, AUOB, but use the hashtags that the organisers have arranged for the march, because we want to get the whole thing trending on social media. Again, very difficult for the mainstream media to ignore something that's trending. Alright, I shall leave you to it. I'm off to do some real work today and make a living again. But as usual, contact me after the show if you have ideas that you want me to explore for future programmes. I'll see you hopefully tomorrow. Bye for now.